Welcome to this ACMi Sports exclusive interview. My name is Nick Antonakis, and I am so lucky to be joined by the president and founder of Metro Boston NFL Flag, Jacob Groshek. Jacob, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nick. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. So much to discuss today. Obviously, the NFL Flag program expanding beyond just Arlington's scope. We have a huge, program that goes all throughout Boston. Why don't we start off by kind of asking, how did it come to be, obviously being the founder of the program, and what is NFL Flag all about?
Well, those are some great questions, Nick. And if we turn the clock back maybe about 7 years, I started getting involved more explicitly with developing my own flag football program because my family had moved to Newton and from the North Shore, where there was an established program, and when we moved to Newton, there was not one in the area. So we started there with the Turkey Bowl in the fall of 2017, and then by the spring of 2018, we started our first program in Newton at Daly Field. And then, of course, the pandemic set in, and as we started to expand to surrounding towns, I think we launched our first fall season here in Arlington, I want to say fall of 21, and that was at Saturday nights at the Summer Street Fields there. And the kids just loved it, right? It met a great need in the environment, in the community, and we just kept it going from there. So we work closely with Arlington Parks and Rec, and as you mentioned, we do have a number of programs in other surrounding towns, including Natick, obviously Newton, but Bridgewater. We just launched a program recently in Milton, and we have a girls-only program that runs throughout the area. In the last 6 months or so, we've also launched a tournament series that takes place at a variety of locations in the area, and it gives our more competitive teams and players an opportunity to play against, quite honestly, some of the best teams from not only the region, but around the country. So NFL Flag Football is all about creating a safe, competitive, and fun environment for our players and their families. Particularly where they have far less risk of some of the injuries that could be associated more commonly with tackle football. That being said, we do try to stress that flag football teaches kids the same drills and skills and abilities that can translate to tackle if they are so inclined as they continue their sports career.
Now, you were talking a little bit about the tournament programs that you have set up. Why do you detail those a little bit more to kind of enlighten the audience what those are all about?
Yeah, so there have been flag football tournaments going back decades, and over the course of time, our teams from Newton have become more and more and more competitive. And every fall, the NFL puts on a regional, it's typically in Taunton, and it's for all NFL flag leagues to come and send their best teams to compete, and the winner of that regional tournament gets to go and compete at the Nationals. So in the last year, we've sent 2 teams from our Newton program to compete at the Nationals, which was at the Pro Bowl last February. And so since that experience for us ended, let's just say, a little bit short of the championship, we built this new tournament series program, which we call the New England Cup, which constitutes 5 different events. It started in March. We have one essentially every month. It culminates in August at the Edge Sports Center in Bedford, where we crown our first inaugural New England Cup winner at the different divisions. So we have a 9 years old and under division, 11U, 13U, 15U, and now that I think about it, we actually do also have a 7U division. The goal really for us with the New England Cup and our own tournament series was to stimulate more involvement specifically of NFL flag football programs. Because as I mentioned, over the course of time, flag football tournaments have been going on, but they don't always play by NFL flag rules. They're club travel teams, and they come from all over the region or the country. And what we wanted to do was find a way for our teams from within the Metro Boston area to compete at a higher level and to get better so that they might have more success at the national tournaments, where I'll just add we're sending 3 teams to the Summer Nationals, which will take place in mid-July at the Hall of Fame Bowl in Canton, Ohio.
That's awesome. And you obviously talked about how these tournament opportunities can expand into big, stages, to put it at the least. Like you said, teams heading out to the Pro Bowl is obviously a big opportunity. We'll get into more of those events later, but kind of bring it back down to the local level. How does it work? I mean, during the spring season, you guys meet every Sunday for games. What's kind of the routine like every Sunday morning getting the kids ready to play?
Yeah, that's correct. So we try to make our flag football programs for our local community rec leagues as low commitment as we can, which is to say this Sunday our teams are playing here in Arlington at McLennan Field. Games start at 8 a.m. And that's for the younger kids. And what will happen is they'll show up maybe a half hour, maybe 45 minutes before their game, meet with the teams, run through some practices, talk to the coaches, do some strategizing, all that sort of stuff. But it takes place pretty exclusively on game day. Of course, teams are welcome to practice during the week if they want to. They can coordinate with their coaches and their families and all that, but it's not something that we coordinate. So again, flag football is designed to be a second, maybe a third sport for most kids. Some, of course, do take it at a more competitive level, but they show up Sunday morning, they run through a quick practice, they gear up with some of the equipment that I've brought here to display. They put that on, they put the belts on. We have professional referees who are NFL flag trained and certified. Of course, we do all the background checks and everything like that. And then they run the games. The games are 2 20-minute halves. The games run sideways on a regulation size football field. So it's approximately 25 yards wide by 70 yards long. They get 4 downs to reach midfield, and they get 4 downs to score. So the game imitates tackle football or NFL football very similarly in terms of penalties and downs. We play 5-on-5. Teams are comprised of approximately at most 10, maybe 11 kids, depending again on friend requests and all that kind of stuff. We try to balance those teams out as best we can based on experience, age, height, weight, all those kinds of factors that we can take into account. But we also get a lot of feedback, right? We observe these games. We know like if teams are really well assembled. We know if the scores are balanced, and so we're always keeping an eye out on that. So they play their game. It runs about an hour. So the first first hour rather, starts at 8, and those are the younger kids. And then we move to our middle school group, our higher elementary school group at 9 o'clock, and then at 10 o'clock we have our middle schoolers. So the whole session here this spring is over by 11 a.m. And then looking ahead towards the fall, which I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, we run on Saturday nights here in Arlington under the lights at the Summer Street Fields, which actually seems to be a really popular experience for the families and the players there.
Now, you brought up these items that you brought in here today. Why don't you walk us through each of them? You were talking about how they kind of have an impact on game day, but why don't you show the audience kind of what you've brought today to show us?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the things that's really important for us as an NFL flag program is that first and foremost, all of our players get the gear, right? They get the swag. So I brought a Patriots jersey, of course.
Of course, got to represent.
Yeah, definitely. So it's not guaranteed that all the teams will be Patriots, right? But there'll be Chiefs, there'll be Packers, there'll be Patriots. And so they get to wear this. They get to showcase their team. It is reversible. So no matter who you're playing against, we have a home team, we have an away team.
Okay,
I'll just
cool.
showcase the other side real quick. These are brand new jerseys, by the way. And the NFL recently upgraded their NFL flag equipment to these dry fit reversible jerseys, which are actually really nice. In addition, all the players will get with their registration an NFL flag football belt. As you can see, these are the official NFL flag branded ones. You clip this around your waist, and then there's one flag that goes on each hip for each player. And of course, the goal is to pop that out. And then you hear the pop. So, I mean, the referee will blow the whistle, but then the player can easily put that back in. Every once in a while, we do have to advise the players to wrap this third longer adjustable length belt, right? Like this can fit pretty much anybody.
Okay.
Adults can play flag football as well. We have an adults program that we run at Daly Field every Sunday morning if the interest is there. Anyhow, you can adjust that, tie that around your back, or some players like to trim it off and put a little duct tape on it. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, we do use official NFL flag balls. This one happens to be from my own team.
Got to represent that
That's
too.
right, that's right. We actually won the Super Bowl last spring, so I was very excited about that. So again, NFL flag balls, flags, jerseys, all included. And then we do have a variety of swag. I brought an example of our sleeves. Some kids like to wear these, kind of showcase and represent the brand.
Awesome.
As you can see there, the shorthand for all of our operations for Metro Boston Sports Group does exist at this website, nflflag.fun. So if anybody is interested to learn more, you can easily go there, check us out. Registration is actually opening really soon for our next program. But yeah, the equipment I think is really an important feature, and it's a way for us to differentiate ourselves from other flag football leagues, because as you may or may not know, there's a lot of different groups in the area, but I really think that it's important for us to mention that, you know, we are an NFL flag football program. We come straight from the NFL league offices, and all that we're doing to build our program here does connect back to the NFL. So you get to go to some of those events, those tournaments, you get to meet players, you get to meet Pat the Patriot, you know, like it's quite a unique experience. And, you know, we're really excited to be bringing that here. For what it's worth mentioning too, we are building a girls-only program at the high school level called Patriots Patriots Girls Football, which is sponsored by the New England Patriots. And in addition, of course, flag football is also now an Olympic sport. So everybody in the field like has their sight lines on 2028 when the Olympics will be in LA.
Now, these definitely give it a professional feel, like you were saying, but alluding back to what you were saying earlier about these different kind of events, that definitely brings a professional sort of atmosphere to what's going on here with NFL flag. Like you said before, opportunities to go to the Pro Bowl. I know that teams have played at stadiums like Fenway Park, at Boston College. Why don't you talk about some of those experiences and what kind of positive impact that's had on the kids involved?
Yeah, thanks, Nick, for bringing that up. It kind of slipped my mind, but over the years, we have made a great effort to bring these experiences to our players and their families. We have held 2 separate events at Fenway Park. We play those in the fall, typically after the Red Sox are done for the season. And, you know, it's really a tremendous experience. We have the field all to ourselves. The kids get to go out there, play underneath the green monster. You know, and it's a one-of-a-kind thing, right? Like, how many times can you say that your child got to play on the field at Fenway Park? That's probably our showcase event. We're still working with our partners at Foxborough to get our players out there. But again, as I mentioned, with the girls-only program, they actually do get to play there every spring.
Wow.
So it's a pretty tremendous opportunity. And like I said, we're working hard to roll that out at more high schools in the area. Boston College, yeah, we're in touch with them a lot. We played some events there. Regularly in Newton, we do play at LaSalle University. And in the past, we've been at UMass, Mount Ida. And moving forward, like I said, with the tournament events that we're putting on, we hold those at Curry. We hold those at some of the best facilities around. I mean, the Edge Sports Center in Bedford is one of those. And we just were at Minutemen High School actually last Sunday, which has a tremendous facility. So altogether, you know, I think that we are benefiting just so much from the great football culture here in New England. And one of the things that we work really hard to do is to be good stewards of our fields and with our partners. And we want to bring these unique experiences to all of the families that are involved with our programs and our tournaments. And we're actually holding our first ever Tournament of Champions, which will invite all of our teams from the Arlington program to come and play against the teams from Natick, the teams from Bridgewater, the teams from Newton. And so it's going to be all those teams that reach the Super Bowl playing against each other to kind of see like which town can take home the trophy. So right now we're scheduled to hold that event at LaSalle University. There's a possibility we might switch over to Roxbury Latin. But you know, I think what it's like for our players and their families to have these one-of-a-kind experiences, I think those are memories that last a lifetime. I'll just add, we do actually work really closely with the videographer who works with the Boston Celtics and has done some hype reels for Jaylen Brown and some of those other folks.
Oh, awesome.
So we usually try to put those together at the end of each season. And last fall, we did our annual awards banquet at Dave & Buster's at the Natick Mall. And so again, this isn't an on-field experience, but we had rented out that whole Dave & Buster's, and we had those hype reels for all of our Super Bowls playing on a loop. We were distributing medals, awards, Defensive Player of the Year, MVPs, Captain Hustle, all this stuff. And the kids got to play essentially unlimited games and all that sort of good stuff that goes on at Dave and Buster's for that whole day. So, we work really hard. I think we have a lot of goodwill in our communities. We're always looking to expand. We always try new things. So for us, the sky's the limit. And we never really know what's going to work the best, but we always keep trying. And I think along the way, I think we've opened up so many opportunities for the families and the players who are in our program.
And as the founder and president, obviously, you kind of absorbed the experience from a different perspective. What do you think you're most proud of looking back, whether it's a specific experience or just an overall thing, looking at the program as a whole? What are you most proud of that's come out of it so far?
Well, Nick, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, honestly, there's so many different points. So I'll start at a personal one. For me, right? Like this whole program exists because of my son. And we started, like I said, in Newton. We didn't really have any idea what we were getting ourselves into. And, he was a reasonably good player. He was passionate about it. But over the course of time, we've had our successes on the field. But also, he's matured into one of our best coaches. And actually, one of the tournament teams that I mentioned, he coaches. Our 9U team, he took to Orlando. He's taken them to Canton. And so at a personal, fatherly level, I'm really proud of the accomplishments and the contributions that he's made. More broadly, I would say, some of those highlights have to include the events that we've done at Fenway. They have to include some of the family nights we do at Boston College. They have to include some of the individual accolades that people have earned playing on the field, let's say at Harvard as well. But on the bigger picture, one of the things that's always been most rewarding to me has been seeing the development of the players who don't normally excel at sports do very well and make meaningful contributions to their teams on flag football fields and games. And there's so many times that I've seen this happen where players come out of their shell and they can make the difference in games. They stick with teams, they form new friendships, because flag football isn't necessarily all about your existing friend groups, because we have a lot of what we call free agents, right? Kids who sign up and they're coming from a different school, a different town, a different location. And so they become part of these groups, and they develop and they cultivate their friendships. And I've seen a lot of that happen and have a really meaningful impact, not just on the football field, but in their development as individuals, in their lives. I'm at a stage in running this program where I'm employing the high school players that are aging out. They become our refs, they become our coaches, they do a great job for us. I'm writing letters of recommendation to former players to go to college. We have a scholarship program where we contribute back to those guys to help them offset some of those costs, which we know are burdensome. So, on the whole, I think, what am I most proud of? I mean, I guess it's just all the good that's come out of this, right? Simple idea, you get kids out there, you play, you ref some games, you keep track of the standings, the scores, and over time, this thing just kind of grew and snowballed, and we had all of this engagement from the community, these really valuable partners at the municipal level, at the local level, the state level. All of those groups just kind of come together to facilitate something that's meaningful and positive in a world where I think there's so much wrong, quite honestly, with youth sports culture. And one of the things I've tried to safeguard against is our program going in the wrong direction. And so I think when people join our program, they participate in it, they see that we're wholesome, that we have good values, and that we try to instill all of those beneficial aspects of sports, like being competitive, but being gracious in moments of victory, but also humble and learning in times of defeat. So I'm kind of rambling here. I can't put my finger on just one thing.
No, but yeah, you've encapsulated it, into kind of an overall positive impact that's come out of it, which is incredible. Now, if there are players out there watching this that are on the fence about getting involved, why should I join? What's it going to get for me? I mean, you've already given so many positive remarks so far, but if there's one message to give to a kid out there who may be on the fence, what would it be?
Yeah, just jump in. You know, we're no risk. You know, if you join up, you try it for a few weeks. For whatever reason you don't like it, you know, let us know and we'll give you your money back. You can keep the swag. You can, you know, walk away without having really lost anything. But I think, you know, if you're looking for an opportunity to play in a safe, fun, competitive environment where you're going to get better at sports in general, and you're going to have skills that translate not just to tackle football, but to soccer, to basketball, to lacrosse, whatever. You know, when you want to have that environment that helps build those skills as well as self-esteem and sportsmanship and all the rest, like jump in. You know, we're here. We'd love to have you. You know, we've got all the pieces of the puzzle in place, and you know, maybe next year you'll be playing at the Pro Bowl. You know, you never know.
Jacob, thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate you offering this story, this incredible opportunity to many Arlington residents and beyond, and hopefully it continues to kind of develop into something larger than everybody also wants to see.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks, Nick, for having me. It's a pleasure for me to have a chance to talk about this. If anybody has any questions or they want to reach out to me, they can check the website, nflflag.fun. And I always answer all the emails, and you know, I'm out in front of pretty much everything we do. So I hope to see everybody at the field.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank you
again
so much, Jacob.
Appreciate it. Take care.